We're in the television revolution. Inside the next 10 years, we are going to be watching 40 channels. And if we don't get those new ideas, new ways of coping with television, then I think television as we know it will become boring and second-rate.
There's a natural conservatism within television that seeks to go back to people who've already been seen to deliver. And I think that that's something that it's not impossible to overcome, but it's one of the huge barriers to young people getting breaks in TV.
The right to fail is the most important thing for any creator. You don't know when you set out whether you're going to wind up with the Mona Lisa. You just got a canvas and a bit of paint you're going to slosh it on. So that's what we have to allow in television. We actually have to allow for some fairly naff moments, for some fairly brilliant moments, and some fairly ordinary moments.
The problem is there's a tremendous commercial drive for figures and to sell advertising, for the BBC to keep up with ITV. And all those things are fine, except that they don't allow you to experiment. They don't allow you the time and the money, the broadcasters, to actually say, well, I'm going to take a risk with this. And in 10 years' time, unless things change, I'm not sure who's going to be writing the stuff that we see on television.
More and more, we are probably the only country that aren't giving talent and creative people within the nation a chance to produce, to show their ideas and put them up there on the world stage. So hopefully this challenge is a small first step in the right direction for that.
For the first time, young people between the ages of 11 and 19 get a chance to be able to realise their dreams.
So you can't actually say that there is a direct line, but there is the possibility. And right now, it's about the only possibility.
No, it's not a passport to glittering success in the future. But, you know, it's a brilliant stepping stone for them.
It is an elitist business, but you can find one Spielberg, one Coppola, one Scorsese, and we're off to the races.
Bing! I've got an idea. A cracking idea for a show. If you're between 11 and 19, send us a few ideas.
We had about 1,500 entries. They were all read by Compulsive Viewing and a team of readers that we took on.
Send us loads of ideas.
The criteria for judging the scripts were a real freshness and originality.
It could be a comedy or a drama or even a soap.
We had lots of things which read very much like an episode of Casualty or The Bill, which is fine, that's great. But it didn't feel fresh to me, you know, it didn't feel like something that I'd never heard before.
Send us millions of ideas! Documentaries.
I wanted to hear things from young writers that I wasn't used to hearing on television.
If you win, you'll see your idea here on Channel 4.
Overall, the standard was really impressive, and with a panel of expert judges, we managed to narrow it down to 6 winners.
First of all, I'd just like to congratulate all of you in the face of competition from over 1,500 entrants. The 7 of you with your 6 entries are the winners of this, so congratulations. I think everyone wishes to... Would you like to come in and we can say welcome to Planet Hollywood and congratulations.
Dear Lloyds, thank you for your letter and for giving me the chance to write about my favourite subject, i.e. me. I live in Runcorn, which is a small industrial town in between Liverpool and Manchester. In my spare time I do absolutely nothing, other than star in the occasional school play. I absolutely abhor homophobia, although I myself suffer from arachnophobia, which the spider population probably take great offence at. The reason I'm so glad I won this is because all my ex-boyfriends will be kicking themselves. I picture them all sat alone in years to come in damp beds saying I could have had her over and over again.
Dear Lloyds, sorry it's a bit late, but here's the information you want. I live in Barrack-in-Elmet, which is just outside Leeds, and there's loads to do. You can sit around and watch cars rust. It's such a happening place. At the moment, I am a government artist, which means I draw the dough. Me and my mates have been making Super 8 films at school since we were about 12, 13, and they were naff to begin with, and they've just stayed naff. My favourite films are, in no particular order, Paris, Texas, Rumblefish, Raging Bull, The Hustler, Mona Lisa, Mean Street, State of Grace, Say Anything, Wings of Desire, Alice in the Cities, Light Sleeper, The American Friend, Local Hero, Anna and her Sisters, The Indian Runner, Repo Man, Working Girl, Q&A.
Dear Lloyds, I am 18 years old and have lived in the small market town of Haverhill all my life with my parents and 15-year-old sister Kelly. I have a part-time job working as a cashier. My main interests hobbies are writing scripts and making video films. I have a GRS 707 Super VHS camcorder and am nearing the end of pre-production on a video I'm making called Knife Don't Cut, about the rising crime rate in the area. Another main hobby is watching feature films, and I have an extensive collection of videos. I have bought the scripts of many of my favourite films and studied them religiously. This interest has helped me to learn the script writing techniques. Writing is all I ever think about, and so that's why I keep a notebook by my bed in case I wake up in the middle of the night with an idea, which usually looks dreadful by the morning, but it helps.
But you can't be too kind of precious about it, that you really, in a sense, it's a craft, it's not an art, or it's a craft as well as an art, so you really have to kind of develop the skills to get it out, really, and not sort of sit around and pound your brow and go, you know, I can't do this because I don't feel it.
We see a young man waiting in a restaurant for his date, and he gets very worried that she's not going to turn up. And we keep cutting back to the brain, his brain reacting to this worry.
Hi,
You've forgotten my name.
No, of course not. It's,
I really do work alone. I don't even like to let people read my stuff until I've got a completed script.
I'm very careful whenever I write anything that there's one person, and now it's my girlfriend, who reads every draft, really understands and likes it. And so when you're stuck, you can talk to somebody who's interested in it rather than, you know, having to only have yourself to deal with.
I'll be sat down talking to someone, and then usually get really annoyed because they'll say something and I'll laugh, and then I'll just pick up a notebook. I'll just steal that joke off you there.
Hey! Stupid! Fool!
There, I've said it.
I think I had a lot of stuff bubbling around in my head at the time, which is typical of any 15-year-old. So I just put it down on paper. It was just a rush of emotions.
Now, dear, I think it's about time we had a little chat about the birds and the bees.
Yeah, sure, Mum.
Don't get pregnant!
If you say, oh, but I really want to go and watch the football, I really want to go and watch that video, it's a really good Schwarzenegger one. If you do that, you've wasted 2.5 hours. And in that 2.5 hours, you could have written the greatest scene of your life, instead of watching someone else's stuff. So I put great credence to, as regards discipline. Even though it becomes terribly, desperately lonely, desperately depressing sometimes, also it becomes exhilarating and brilliant, you have to sit there on your own. You can't take phone calls for hours and hours and hours. Discipline is everything.
I've got all these cards that I write all ideas down as well. And if I'm just writing a fresh thing, I'll pick some of the cards and mix them together, or I'll look what I've got, got wrote down in my pad, and I'll sort of blend it together, and then I've got a really battered old typewriter that I smash away at for a bit. I have a cup of tea and a cig, and then I smash away at it again, and that's about it. It's about a family situation that's sort of driven to emotional heights by a recent bereavement, and it concentrates mainly on a younger brother who's lost his eldest brother, who's sort of an hero figure to him. It's how the brother just can't get over it, the younger brother can't get over it, and he's sort of haunted by the spirit, the ghost of his elder brother.
Give us a sec, Jimmy.
Dear Lloyds, I am a second-year law student at Hertford College, part of Oxford University. I share a house with 6 friends. I like good films, Chinese food and going out. I hate queues and landlords. I play guitar and bass guitar, and I used to be in a band called Emu Farm. Also, I write for the university paper. Ultimately, I would like to edit The Guardian or Private Eye, make films, and write a great work of fiction.
A potted banking. I live in the Avenues area of Hull, which is a quiet conservation area full of large Victorian terraced houses and tall trees. The area is not far away from White Sixth Form College, where I am studying A-level law, geography and media studies, and GCSE accounts. I'm a member of the NUS executive at the college and have become media representative. This position enables me to express the views, needs and inquiries of my fellow students to those who essentially run the college. I enjoy the cinema and theatre and nightclubs, and I'm a member of the White College rugby team.
Dear Lloyds, I live in a small town called St Andrews. It's on the east coast of Scotland in a county called Fife and is famous for golf. I've always enjoyed writing, and when I was younger, between about 5 and 10, I used to write little books, mostly about animals, monsters and weird creatures. In my spare time I do art classes and writing at St Andrews Young Playwrights. I also play the piano very badly, sing in a couple of choirs, and I'm a member of our local youth theatre. The playwriting club where we wrote our script, Unforgettable, is called Stapes, St Andrews Young Playwrights, and takes place once a week in Viv's flat. Unforgettable was the first play or film that I had ever written, and now I am really worried that I'll never be able to equal it again. It's mainly about a girl on a coach, and she starts having all these fantasies about things happening to her. She's quite a shy girl and she doesn't have a lot of confidence, and there's a man sitting opposite her, and she just has a lot of fantasies about just doing things that she couldn't do in everyday life. The girl was actually sort of based on both of us, really. Because she's actually quite a shy girl. Somebody said it was like a script by David Lynch, but we've never actually seen anything by him, so I don't know. I thought it would just be made, and it wouldn't take that long, and there wouldn't be that long between finding out we'd won and seeing the film. But in fact, we've sort of rewritten the script about 20 times, and there's been all different shoots and sound dubs and everything. I didn't realise it would take that long.
So why is she asking so quietly here?
She's not very assertive. No, she's just
Yes, right.
a bit shy, and she doesn't want to stand out. She doesn't really want to be noticed.
Yeah. But in her head she does.
Yeah.
She sees someone else that is assertive.
I think that they found that a lot of the time being spent in meetings, discussing a line, discussing a joke, doing all of those things, quite surprising.
I found it difficult to do rewrites. I sort of had a basic idea of what the finished script would look like, and I didn't really want to stray from that. But the changes that were made have certainly changed the script for the better.
Right, now we've got this line, haven't we, where we need a gag.
Yeah, but there's an idea there that's quite nice, which is saying something about Willis as a character, isn't that?
Yes, that's true.
I didn't want to put a pointer as exactly how he would say it. I just wanted to leave it.
Wait and see.
Yeah.
Can you have a think about that?
Yeah.
I've never actually seen anything of mine which has been how I ever saw it. I've seen things which have been close to how I ever see it, but that's part of what an actor brings to it, what the director's point of view is, which is, of course, once it goes out in my room and it's into production, that's me finished with. I can go down and I can say, can you deliver that line a bit like that? But fundamentally, it's down to them then.
The idea in my head was really unimaginative. It was a person with a black background just talking straight to camera. And then we got Julian, the mad director, coming on saying, no, I think you should do this. Someone should fall into a bath.
Splash, it comes out, head pops out.
Some of Julian's ideas, I was like, no, I don't think that would work with my script, Julian. But he's really good. He's been right in what he's said so far.
Views and opinions on it. Somebody who's maybe quite sheepish looking, who suddenly breaks out with all this stuff. No.
No. It's got to look right.
I didn't realise exactly the amount of preparation that went into television programmes. I had sort of more visions of people walking around with cameras for a couple of weeks, for a couple of days after having sort of 4 or 5 weeks spent researching the topic fully.
I don't want her to smoke. I don't encourage drinking. I don't want her getting married at 18.
The documentary is about how parents are seen as hypocritical by their children.
You play, you know, that are really...
It's basically how parents are telling the children not to do what they did when they were younger, and sort of the feelings of the revulsion that sort of the children get from that.
Tell them where you're from. Straight out of Compton.
Why do you think you have to, you know, behave in
Because
that way?
it's a laugh. It's
Is it
something to
only
do.
for a laugh, or,
It's a
you know...
joke. It gives people joke, and that is what I'm here to do.
I hate stupid people. I hate stupid people.
Sat in on the final auditions. Well, some of the girls I really took an immediate dislike to.
You're going to do this in personal judgment of whether or not you agree with the things that they hate.
No, I like her, and she's a vegetarian. But...
I'm not an avid football fan.
The thing I was frightened of was that Claire wasn't going to be suitable. I thought, well, she looked great on the audition tape.
Seen any further into the game, young men in tight shorts sweating a lot.
Freeze!
I'm not an avid football fan.
I met her, and one of the first things we said to each other was like, do you like Morrissey? And then we just hit it off immediately. So she's brilliant, I think.
Line.
Then again, it could be worse.
Cut. Lovely.
Then you come to the day of the read-through, and then you suddenly realise, it doesn't get any better, you suddenly realise that you're now, it's like you might as well be sitting naked in front of these people, because all these thoughts are yours. They know they're the actors, but they know that you wrote these awful, damning emotions down sometimes, so you must have experienced those awful, damning emotions, and you sort of do lay yourself naked for a while.
It's been in my head for nearly, 6 months, and then you actually see actors in the positions, and you see actors telling lines. And I didn't even, it was like a feeling I've never experienced before. It's like somebody taking a little bit of your soul out, and then it's put there on show for everybody, and it was strange.
There's this whole team of people that have to bring your script to life, and when you understand what their job is, you can write a better script. And I think in the same way, once I'd actually been, you know, on a shoot and seen how the thing was put together, it started to help me do my job better, because you suddenly realise the constrictions within which everyone else is operating.
I didn't really know what to expect, you know, the whole goings on, because I'd been a bit, like, you know, backstage of a production before, but it's all a bit, everyone's all over the place, and I thought it was like, basically just a cameraman here, and when you go out back there, it's all vision mixers and everything. It's like it's like a television studio, just all sort of portable. We just moved into this like location. The idea for making the show really sort of came about by seeing a crap game show.
Last week we did a survey to find out what these people know about contraception. What they didn't know was that we'd sent our special Beadle cam along to film them secretly.
What about? Well, I'm a bit under the weather.
Like, there's a decent game show behind it, so it's, like, it's challenging what's there already, and sort of having a sly dig as well at the same time.
How many bricks are there in the Great Wall of China?
110.
Have you seen the Great Wall of China yet? The Great Patio of China, you see.
The thing that perhaps surprised me most about making the film was exactly how much work is involved in such a short amount of time. I've always been interested in directing as well, and when I went on the set I realised I don't want to direct.
Hey,
I thought it would be perhaps a bit too stressful for me, a bit too much pressure.
I was extremely nervous about watching it. I know what they're going to say, and I know what, you know, things should happen in it, and I know what the actors should be feeling and everything. But when I watch it, I'm still, like, totally, you know, taken away by tension between actors doing a really good job.
I like the way it's been done. It keeps my themes in there really strongly and very much the order which I'd put them in originally.
Oh my God!
To see like my idea like on an actual screen, like from being on a paper, is like really weird. When you're writing it down, you don't actually think of it. I don't know, you haven't got a really real sense of how it's going to turn out on the screen.
I've worked on it for about a year and a half now, and it was getting a bit stale, and then I watched the finished production, and I really enjoyed it, and thought it was a good laugh.
Actually, seeing my work on screen, it was just really weird. I mean, the opening credits, it was Channel 4, Buddha's Legs by Susan Nickson, and I was like, oh my God, it's me.
It's really amazing to watch it because you never imagined it to be real in the end. You always think of it as inside your head. To see everything you wrote on the screen is it's an incredible feeling. It's probably like being a parent and watching your baby walk or something.
Writing films and making films and stuff, I think it'd be a brilliant life.
If they do have a talent, they can prove that talent. They actually can do it. They can write that talent down. And although it's going to take maybe a long time, they will eventually get that read. If they get it read, there is a very good chance it'll be picked up. I mean, it is not all bad news. We need more writers.
The main impact the challenge has had, it's made me more ambitious, more determined that I can get into television in some way.
I think it's very difficult to make a living as a writer. I mean, to make a really good living as a writer is nearly impossible. It's done by a very small proportion of writers. They should expect, new writers should expect that they're going to have to finance themselves somehow. And lots of my beginning writers either have other jobs, teaching or whatever, or partners who help support the situation. But it takes a long time.
It'd be very nice to think that I could make a living out of something that I enjoy, such as writing. I can't see it myself, but who knows?
Define yourself as a writer, put writer on your passport, tell people that's what you do, and don't get put off when you're in the hairdressers or on the train and someone says what you do and you say you're a writer and then they say what have you done, and you've got nothing to come up with, because everybody's like that for years. That's just the reality. That's how everybody starts off.
I don't want to think about 20 years' time. In 20 years' time, I want to be a successful writer with a huge amount of money. Well, it's a bit unrealistic.
It's a communications industry, and your ability to communicate your ideas cogently, coherently, with enthusiasm, and sometimes with a touch of kind of arrogance or glamour or whatever as well, makes you go a long way.
In an ideal world, well, I'd like to have loads of money. Like, it wouldn't be working at all, and I don't know, like a secluded island in the Bahamas or something like that.
The great temptation is to start listening to people who say, well, if you write about that, people will think it's funny, or let's do this, people always find husbands and wives funny and everything. And you mustn't listen to those voices. You've got to go on writing what you think is funny, or what you think is sad, or what you think is exciting. And I've got a feeling that it's people who don't allow themselves to be waylaid by other people's opinions, preconceptions and orders, who eventually, you know, establish a style of their own and therefore do stuff which is unusual and therefore succeed.
No, I definitely want to get into business now after this, yeah. Can't do what else.
You can see the first of this year's winning films, Buddha's Legs, written by Susan Nickson, on Wednesday night at 9:45 here on 4.